Happy Friday. Well, it's Friday for me. I don't know what day it is for you. But anyway, happy Friday. Somebody pointed out to me that I've never done a video on restoring a database in SQL Server using just the simplest technique. I did one with DBA tools and things like that, but I've never just done one straight in the GUI, so we're going to fix that right now. My sample system here, my demo system, whatever you want to call it, my 2016 instance, has some very generic databases on the Stack Overflow, Worldwide Importers, all the basic Microsoft stuff. We're going to pick on Wide World Importers, and I always try to say that backwards, just like everybody else. And we're going to assume that somebody did something dumb in this database, probably me, and I need to do a restore. I'm going to cheat a little bit here. I'm not going to go through the backup process. We've already done that video, and it's pretty straightforward. What I've done is gone through and done a search of all the backups I have, and if you're really sharp and you know the OLA tools, you'll notice I'm using the OLA Hallengren format for backups. It doesn't matter. But in the Wide World Importers folder and subfolders, these are all the files I have. Note they're all done today for this demo. Today obviously being May 27th. So these are sorted by date, so you can see that I've got a full backup and a differential. I got another full backup, some transaction log backups, the TRNs, another differential, and some transaction logs. So for those of you that don't do backups and aren't really for sure where to start, you have to have a BAK, you have to have a full backup to do any kind of restore. You can have transaction log backups and or differentials as well. There's a lot about that goes into the recovery model, etc., etc. In this case, my database is in full recovery, so I can do point-in-time restores, just like you would hopefully be doing on your production system. So this is basically, let's say this is a Monday morning full, a couple of transaction log backups throughout the day, a Tuesday differential, which is just the stuff that changed, and some more transaction log backups. We're going to say that right here, that this file has my oops moment where I screwed up and deleted a table or whatever, overrode a stored procedure, anything. You can't do a SQL Server table level backup unless you've got a lot of other conditions met. So this is basic. We're going to restore to this file. So it's going to be this full backup, this differential, and this transaction log. We're going to do it all in one step. So, but I'm going to do it through the GUI, and then I'm going to show you something cool at the end to make things a little bit easier for those of you that are wanting to see the stuff going on behind the scenes. If you're just a happy little GUI monkey, awesome. Go for it. And honestly, I use this a lot when I have to do one in a hurry, because typing out restore database commands is really tough to do without getting some typos. So I'm going to go to right-click, go to Tasks, Restore, Database, bring up the GUI, which should be fairly quick, and it populates this already. If I didn't even have a database and I was doing a restore from a file I got, I'd have to do some other stuff. It shows me all of the things it knows about. You're not always going to get that lucky, and you may have to hit Device and then go browse around for the physical files and whatnot. But if you're just restoring and you've got your backups still on the drives in the same place they were when it took them, it lists them out in order. There's the full I was talking about. There's the differential it's going to apply. And I wanted to go to just this transaction log. So I'm going to deselect the second one. So that's all good. It's the three files I want. And there's not a lot to do here because I want it all to go into the same place. And I forgot to do this. If I wanted to do a restore and have this database restore side by side with the one that's already there, I give it a name change. And I can't type. We all know that. So it's going to restore it as underscore restored, so I'll have the original and the restored one, which is great if somebody just deleted a record from a table and you want to go get it back. It's kind of bazooka to kill a mosquito at that point because you're doing a full restore for one record, but that's the basic choice that Microsoft gives you. And then when I go over here to Files, notice that it's got restored in the physical file names. It says restore as. It's picked up that new file name. And it's going to change it because you obviously can't have two files of the same name in the same place. So I'm going to go back and change this because I'm just going to overwrite the existing Wide World Importers DW database. Tab off of that, go to the files again, and the restored is The restore has picked up my typo. That's awesome. I would expect that, actually. So it's gone now. Everything in here is exactly the same as it was. So I've got all these extra data files and whatnot. That's all things that was already there. Not a lot really to do here other than just make sure it's going to the right place if you're just doing a basic restore over the top of the existing database because it's garbage and we want it to come back. That's the most common option. When you go to options here, this is the overwrite the database because it won't do it if I don't check that box. You have to intentionally check it to tell it blow away the database and put this one in its place from the backup files. Okay. Keep replication. Doesn't matter if you're not using replication, and we're not, so we'll skip it. This is really important right here. If you're doing this and you're restoring a full backup and you know you're going to be doing some manual transaction log restores as well, you need to change this to no recovery. Recovery is SQL Server's process for bringing a database online and making it ready for users to connect. Once you've done that, you can't restore any other files. Now I'm doing all mine at once, so I know I can when you're done restoring the files, go ahead and recover the database so I can use it. That's what this means. I'm going to ignore this tail log backup. It's a slightly advanced topic. Advanced taco. That'd be great. So I'm going to take this out just to keep it super simple, and I'm going to check the kick everybody out so I can actually do the restore box. That's not what it says, but that's what it means. Let that sink in for a minute. And then I can hit OK, and it'll start happening. But the coolest thing about SQL Server's newer versions, and when I say new, I mean Management Studio in the last 10 years or whatever, because I'm old, is the script button. How many of you have never seen that script button before? It's in almost every GUI in all of Management Studio. If I click that, some stuff happened behind the scenes. I'm going to minimize it and show you some code. That wasn't there before. So I'm going to clean this up just a little bit, and then I'm going to explain some of it to you, because you need to know. So, pardon me while I just kind of make things pretty and legible. And a lot of this stuff we all know if you know this stuff already, these commands and what they mean, you're probably a little more advanced than this video is for, but stick around. Nothing magic here, but might as well see if I say anything you don't already know. All right. That, kill all the connections and whatnot, that checkbox, that's this. This with rollback immediate means take any connections, roll back what they were doing, and then set the database in single user mode so nobody else can connect. That's all this statement is doing. And then, get rid of this. The BAK file is my full backup. So it's going to restore that, overwriting the existing one, but don't recover it yet, and show me my progress every 5% of the restore process. This is not all that big a database. It's going to go really quick. The next one is my differential file, DFF, and got diff in the name. By the way, if you're using Ola and you have diff here, by default, it's going to say BAK at the end because that's Microsoft's default. There's an Ola flag to change that. So this is the differential, got full, diff, and then this one trn log file backup. Sorry, just wanted that bit. All of these have the other same stuff, but notice where this says no recovery, that's missing here because the default is recovery. So when this one is done, it's going to bring it online and it's going to make sure it's set to multi-user mode so everybody can use it. The reverse of the single user here, even though it's replacing it, it's following up here. So let's press execute and watch this magic just fly by, probably faster than I can resize the screen. The messages tab is what you're interested in. The big thing to notice or to be aware of is when you're doing these restores, especially if you're a DBA and somebody sent you a request, hey, can you restore this database for me? Ask them. Always ask them if they need it to overwrite the original or to be side by side, and you can use that _restored or _to, whatever you want to call it. Because if they just need a record, you don't want to take all of the data backwards a day or however far back you're going. Yeah, it might be making a huge database to get one record, but that's better than potentially overwriting, several hours or a day of data that's been happening, since the problem. And the biggest cause of database restores is actually user error. Somebody did an update without a where clause and updated every row in the table, or they deleted something in prod when they thought they were in dev. It's just straight user errors because humans do that. And usually you realize you did it right about 1 second after it happens, which is unfortunate. 1 second before would be better, but that's not how the human mind works. Okay, all of this is done. Completed. Took all of a minute and 6 seconds. We'll go back and get my Object Explorer back and refresh, and it's going to be exactly the same as it was. And if we go to Properties, it still looks like the date it was created because that is the date of creation of the database that was backed up. All of this stuff makes sense. Last backup was the one that I showed you in the file system. Nothing here will have changed. If I wanted to get real excited, I could have shown you some other stuff, take some rows out and show you that they're there. But the point was to show you the Restore Database GUI, how to look at the files in order, pick the right ones, and then the bonus points of the script button. That wasn't really necessary because I could very easily have just hit OK here, and I could do that now, and it would do the exact same thing, and it would give you a little status bar up here in the corner if you wanted it. So that's it. That's a basic SQL Server restore. Just be very, very careful when you're doing it that you're on the right box and that you're not overriding something that you shouldn't be overriding. Always ask that question no matter who asked you for the restore, because people don't always want what they actually say when they ask you for something. You got to verify. That's it. Bye.